Alright, today we're going to be doing a little home maintenance project. The problem I've got is the gables on my house are painted and the paint's starting to come off, and we need to do something about it, so I'll just give you guys a little look here. So as you can see, the paint here is really coming off, and we're going to replace this. Instead of painting this, putting cedar shakes in the gable. The other thing we're going to do is, so these pieces will have the cedar shakes. This will be all tinned, and so I won't have to get up there and paint that ever again. But it's looking pretty bad, but this is just one of the two gables on the front of the house. Now here's another gable on the front of the house. The first one was in front of the garage. This one's kind of above the doorway. As you can see, the paint is really coming off. It's starting to look really bad. It's going to start doing some damage there. So I'm going to get all the cedar shakes put up in between there. And like I said, we'll get the rest of those vertical strips tinned out just so I don't have to paint those again. And a future project might be to maybe do some cedar shakes and replace the siding back in there, and maybe do some cedar shakes up these pillars. But for now, this is my main concern because it needs to be painted pretty bad. Okay, just to give you guys a bit of an idea about how much I was quoted to get the gables painted. Now that would have been on the front and the back side of the house. I'm just going to do the shakes on the front for now, but the quote for the painting was $3,000, so that was a little steep considering there's only about $40 worth of paint that would have had to go on. To give you guys an idea about how much the cedar shakes cost, I got the grade number 2, which was recommended, and with 4 gallons of stain for enough to do 3 coats. I was about $1,200 all in just for the materials, and then on top of that there's a bunch of tools you need, like a stapler, air stapler, and a few other things. But basically for about a third of the money I can do the gables with cedar shakes and have it look like something, versus just getting somebody to go up there and paint it. So anyways, I think we're going to do these shakes, and the next step here will be doing the stain. Alright, here is just one of the piles of the shakes. It was about 16 bundles it's going to take to do all the gable in the front of my house. There should be a bunch left over too because I got extra for wastage, but quite a few shakes. Now these are number 2, but I've got looking through quite a bit of the pile. I can't tell a whole lot of difference between the number 2 and the number 1 that I got here specifically anyways. But yeah, they look pretty good, and hopefully the stain we've chosen will really bring their color out and protect it, so I won't have to get up there and restain it for several years. Several of the neighbors have this up in their gables, and they've haven't had to restain their shakes in about 10 years, so I'm hoping I can get the same kind of result. So I just wanted to show you guys the stain I'm using for these shakes. Now because I bought this from like an industrial supplier or a commercial supplier, it's not like when you go into Home Depot and you can see the paint color and whatnot. They've got color codes and different SKU numbers that tell them what color it is, but basically this color is called teak. It's kind of like a reddish cedary looking color from what I could tell in the samples from the store. But just so you guys can see the can. And then, as with any of these paints and stains, it gives you, of course, like the full like surface prep, basically dry, clean, not full of mud, etc. And then it comes down and tells you how to clean, dry time, and how to clean up and whatnot. So basically, just typical stain. But like I said, when you buy this stuff from these commercial wholesalers, you can't just look at it and have some color typed on the can necessarily. It's usually got like these SKU numbers that tell them what color it is and whatnot. So hopefully I got the right one. I'm pretty sure I did. But so the other thing I was going to mention as well, when you're buying a lot of volume for these shakes and whatnot, and you're buying them from a commercial supplier, they'll often give you the contractor price. So if they don't, just ask for it. And you know, in this case, I bought 16 bundles plus 4 gallons of stain, and they were willing to give me the contractor price. So it does shave a bit of money off the total price, but it's always worth asking, especially when you're doing these projects that are a little more on the expensive side. Okay, so what I've done here in the back of the house, I've put a tarp down, I've put some 2x4s down, and then I've put the cedar shakes across them like this. We're going to stain them and put them here. This is one of the problems of not having a workshop. Got all my stain and Versol and whatnot there, my stack of shakes, but anyways, I'm going to set the camera up. We'll stain a bunch of this and see how it looks. Okay, right now we're stirring the stain. Now the guy at the store told me not to shake these cans. As you can see, it's thick, so at the bottom, and it's really runny at the top. So just got to stir it up, and once we get going, once we're done this, we should be ready to test our first piece. Looks pretty dark, but we'll see what this looks like on the actual shingles. Okay, so I've just done this first shake. It's fairly dark, but it's still wet, so I think it will lighten up a fair bit. So what I've been doing is I've been coating the sides and the back first, flipping it over, and then coating the front side. And once this is dry, we'll coat it an additional 2 more times, and then that shake will be done. So all these are flipped on what I'm going to call the back side right now to start with, and we'll basically just keep going along, and I'll film an update here shortly. Okay, on these shakes, I'm starting on the back side of them first, and I'm trying to get the ends coated, because usually when you put the pressure on the edge of your brush, you get a little bit of dripping. So if I do the edges first, and then I can just kind of smooth everything out. The edges are actually kind of the worst part to do because they're not very fun. Thin. So we'll get these edges coated so they're looking half decent. Then we'll do the back side here, and I start at what is essentially the bottom of the shake and just kind of pull the stain up towards the top of the shake, and it seems to work pretty well doing it that way. Then if you do have a little bit of overage, it drips into that end grain, which seems to suck up a lot of stain. And the one thing with these, when you're staining them, once you start staining them, you have to keep going. You can't really leave the let it dry part way through. You just have to finish the shape that you're on. And take your break then. Alright, so that was back side. Now I'll just quickly do the front here. Now the front, this is going to be coat 1, but we will have 3 coats on this, so just want to get the whole coat basically stained, at least with 1 coat with the stain here. And just pulling the stain from the, what's essentially bottom of the shape down. And just big thing is just to make sure the color looks fairly even and uniform and you don't have any blotchy spots. And then take off any excess we might have and give her a once over. That's about it. Not too hard, just super tedious. Like I said, this is coat 1 of 3, so we got a lot of work ahead of us. Alright, that was the first coat of stain. We did all the sides of the shakes. We've got 2 more coats to go on the good side, and then we'll see what the final product looks like. Okay, so we are coming back to our staining. We've been working pretty hard at this, but I've changed the setup a little bit here. I'm just going to flip this around, the camera around, and show you here what we've been up to. Okay, we've got this new staining rack. Basically, after we stain a shake, we can put it on here. I need to add 1 more row to it, but I think we'll be able to put close to a full bundle of shingles on there that are stained. I've also set this table up. Just going to stain them 1, 2, 3 at a time, put them on the rack, keep going. All set up now with a nice table. So it should help significantly increase our production. Now, if you want to see how we built this rack, there's another video. I'll put the link in the description below and probably put a card on this video as well. But well worth the time to put this rack together. Freed up a ton of floor space here on the back patio. Wife was getting a little cranky about having to step around all this stuff. So anyways, we're going to keep on going. We got a lot of staining, a lot of shakes left to do. But this hopefully will help us increase the amount of shingles we can get going here.